welcome Craig Webb from Webb Consultancy. And this really ties in really well with what Mark was talking about last night and Becky has been talking about today, because Craig is going to be talking about how we can make best use of Google's free tools, so not necessarily the paid ones, for helping to improve your visibility. So Craig, would you just like to give us a little bit of background to you and what you do in your day?
Primarily, I'm still a hotel and restaurant manager. Have been for about 15 years, been hospitality for about 30 years. But oftentimes I've been suffering in hotels without a budget. I'm sure you all get that. And there's a young man in this group called Chris Coates is with us, and we used to run a hotel together, which was, we ran it on behalf of the bank. It was in administration. So there wasn't much money to do much with. So we ended up sort of being forced to learn how to do things and, you know, make the best out of what we had and what we could do for free. So that sort of sent me along the path of, I was already interested in social media, but certainly along the path of Google and how to make the most out of it and the free tools that were available. I then found Mark Simpson, who you interviewed last night. I'm one of his disciples. And I then joined his paid academy, and I learned an awful lot more about social media and a lot of stuff that Becky was just talking about, actually. A lot of what he doesn't cover is a real deep dive into Google. So I then went off myself and learnt about that, which I really enjoy. So I'm going to talk about that today. And I've also got a Facebook group called the Restaurant Industry Networking Group. So that's just about hospitality owners. Obviously we network, and I provide some free training in there on social media and Google. Do some
and it's very active, so do go and look up Craig.
It's been going about 3 or 4 weeks now. I've got about 400 members, so we're not members there, it's free, but
yeah,
you know what I mean, 400 people following it, so that's really good. So I just use that group to teach other hospitality owners about how they can get the best out of the free stuff that's available, and break down what seems like jargon. I think that's what people find. They don't start because they see technical terms and they say, oh, I'm not going near it. But it's just a technical word, and actually if you translate it into English, it makes sense and it's very easy. That's what I hope to help you with today.
Good, thank you. So thinking then about Google, and I think that the one frustration that most people have is that, you know, that their listing comes sort of way down on the page, and there's all this OTAs right at the top, grabbing all of the business and all of the bookings.
Yeah.
So what are the things that people can be doing to sort of tap into or beat the algorithms on Google, which I know they're always changing, but what are some of the core principles?
Okay, so you need to write content, obviously, but you can't beat the algorithms. You don't know the algorithms. You don't know what to beat. So that's impossible. It's a complete secret, and they're not going to tell you. But the answer is, well, marketing, and this is not my own quote, but marketing is the art of differentiation. You've probably heard that before. So stop checking your competitors and trying to be like them, and write your content naturally from the heart to the customers that you want. Don't try and be all things to all people. If you imagine your best customers, and those best customers might be your friends, and how would you talk to them? How would you communicate with them? Well, as you're trying to write some content, talk to them and write that down. That's your content. Don't try and do it from your head for what Google might want to read, because you're not going to beat it. Customers will find the content they want to see. So that's the stuff you need to put out. So quite simply, to find your tribe, you just need to talk to your tribe, yeah? That's the best way I can say it. They want to know about your uniqueness and your product offering, and that's what you need to talk about.
Can I just interject there with a little tip that I have found? Nowadays it's easy, but if I go back sort of 3 or 4 years, and I was writing lots of blog posts, written a couple of books, and I found that the best thing to make your content sound authentic and if it's coming from you is that you actually dictate it rather than write it. Because I think if you're sat in front of a screen and you've got this blank screen, or even you're writing it out longhand and you've got a blank sheet of paper, it's just like, oh, I don't know where to start. Whereas if you record what you have said, and I used to use something called Dragon, which would actually type it as it goes. Of course, nowadays it's so easy because if you're talking to your phone, it will write it out
for you. Yeah. And that's absolutely right. You just keep doing that. I think too often we're trying to write things and we're worried about sentence structure and everything else. I think Becky alluded just a minute ago to she was trying to get things perfect. Well, my advice to Becky is just get it out there. So 70% done is better than perfect. Just do it, you know. People aren't going to judge you on it, are they? Yeah.
I can appreciate Becky's, because I'm a recovering perfectionist.
I try not to be.
And that's what holds us back sometimes. We're trying to be perfect, and actually people aren't expecting us to. They want to know you. They want to know you with your spelling mistakes. They don't actually care. So just get it out there, and out there is better than still locked away with a fear of judgment. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, it is.
I see your uniqueness rather than you trying to beat an algorithm on Google.
Yeah, and the thing is that when it's you're going to resonate with your audience.
Yeah.
And rather than you trying to resonate with people that you don't want it's coming to your venue.
Exactly. Well, I think you stole a bit of my thunder there, because that was my point later. No, that's all right. Because if you're trying to be all things to all people, you'll get the wrong people in your business who will give you the bad reviews, and you don't want them. You don't want them in your life. Don't waste your time on them. You know, you want the right people in your life that you want to attract. So that could be my sort of take home. Maybe if you ask me later, I'm sure you will. So go on, ask a question.
Just thinking about in terms of thinking about then that we know that we can't beat Google, we're never going to, but thinking about the OTAs, because of course the OTAs have got massive funds to put all of that for them to get at the top of the listing. So even if we can't beat them, how can we
join them?
Yeah.
The number one tip, and that's nothing to do with what I'm going to show you, is if someone's booked on booking.com and on the OTA and then they come to your hotel, well, they've spent about a minute on the OTA and they're spending up to 5 days with you, 3 days, 2 days, I don't know, however long they're with you, with many touch points, with many contact points. You can get that customer information out of them. You can get their data, and you need to own the data. You need to own that customer data. That's where it starts and ends, and that's where you build your business. And that's all booking.com have. They don't have the product. You have the product. They have the data. So just start taking it back. But there are some obviously other things you need to do to get in front of the customer in the first place, to get ahead of Google, not ahead of Google, ahead of the OTAs, and try and appear in front of the customer before they do. Now, do you want me to share my screen?
Yes, I need to hand over to you. So let me just do that first. So
I need to do something? Share screen.
You're now the host.
Share. Okay.
It's coming.
Start.
Everybody see that okay?
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, it's come back.
So it covered up the my tabs at the top, which I couldn't then click on to show you. Okay, so this is just a Google search. I just did that earlier to save time earlier, and I put restaurant in Oxford. Okay, and this is what you'll see. Any bricks and mortar premises, the listings sort of appear like this. So at the top you've got adverts. So you can pay for the adverts, and you will pay, and you will come above booking.com, etc. But they will bid on your brand, and they'll bid a lot of money to come above you by bidding on your brand name, which is very frustrating. It's worth doing though. It's worth doing, but it's better than paying commission. So that's my answer to that. The next part of Google, and this is a new part, is you've got this area here. Can you see my mouse circling? It says TripAdvisor and Timeout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's called the directories, and that's a new area of Google they've just started putting in. So obviously you can be on those directories, and if you're not already, when you type in your business name, what directories appear here, then you need to try and be on them. Loads of them are free, but some of them are paid, but obviously you want to get on the free ones first. And the OTAs can't stop you getting on there, so that's a little job for you. The next part, this is called the map pack. So that's the map of Oxford, and there is the top 3 restaurants in the map pack on Google, and that's free. And Booking.com and the OTAs, no matter how much money they pay, cannot occupy that space. They cannot get there. Only you can get there as the business owner. So that's the main part you can occupy for free. Now,
so Craig, sorry, can I ask a question? So what constitutes it being a top restaurant? Whose criteria are you fulfilling?
Now, the customers might think a little bit like TripAdvisor, the ones at the top are the best restaurants. But it doesn't work like that. This is just, so Ollie's Thai is the best person in Oxford and managing his Google business listing. That's all it means. It's just that he posts lots of pictures and he does lots of work on it, and that's why it appears higher. Now, obviously, this only shows 3. If you click more places, it will show, 20 more restaurants. And if you're on a phone, imagine that much smaller. Actually, that map pack completely fills your phone. That's really all that shows. So if you're in that top 3 there, and you're going to be on your phone, if you're looking for a restaurant because you're already out and walking about, you're already on your phone. You're not perhaps looking at home. You're already walking about and doing that search. So that's why that's important. And a bit later, I'll show you what the back end looks like and what you can do to occupy that space. But that's another little part of the session. So that's what's called the map pack. And in the industry known to the map pack 3. And that's the main aim is to get in that bit. That's the gold standard to be in that 3. And if you're updating your restaurant or business regularly, that's what you'll do. So the rest of the Google listings is what you see underneath, and these are all just what then comes up naturally at highest. It's great if you're there, but it's very hard to get there. And I think we'll find over time that these directory listings will be occupying that space, and the bigger listing websites will occupy that space. As a very small business, you're going to find it very hard to get on page 1 of Google there, unless they're searching on your brand name or for a very particular niche. So that's what that is, and that's what the different sections of Google are. Now, what can help you with that as well is the work you do on your own website, and the on-page SEO and the off-page SEO and all that other stuff that's kind of builds a ring around your brand. So the center of your brand is your website, and all the things around there is your Google My Business listing and your Facebook, your Instagram, the TripAdvisor, and all those things that are backlinking to you and telling Google that the stuff's going on here. These are social signals. There's likes, there's shares, there's comments, there's click-throughs, there's links, and that all builds a brand and trust from Google that you are a genuine business with regular things happening, done by a person and not a bot. That sort of thing will help you rank.
Craig, you've mentioned there the terms on-page and off-page. What do you mean by that?
So I don't want to get techie, but that's another thing that the techie geeks talk about. And I'll break that down. It really is as it says. So SEO is search engine optimization, and you're trying to optimize your website to be as high a ranking as you possibly can. So on-page SEO is the search engine optimization you do on your website. Let me just click on that loads. So this is just loading my hotel here. You see, it's very beautiful. I've got a video. So on-page SEO is various things. It's the tabs at the very top. If I hover over the tab, it comes up with that Cotswold House Hotel and Spa Chip in Camden, got the postcode in there. If I click on a different page, the spa, for example, it'll have some different page headings that come down. And that's what Google's reading when it first, when it's looking at your page, and it's saying that's the relevance, that's really important. And then it's looking a little bit further down and it's looking at your headings. So, and our heading, hotel in the Cotswolds, but hotel in the Cotswolds. Why might that be important? Because it's what people are typing into Google. Now, obviously, my next bit down is my COVID information. But then we start talking about my property. And I've then got some links. I've got some links to my spa and my bistro and my restaurant. And those internal links are already really powerful because it helps Google build a picture of how your site is built up and how it's all connected together and how things are important. So those links on your home page, linking to other sections of your page, are really quite important. So other factors on your on-site SEO are your structure, like I just talked there, and the internal links, the words you use, and ideally you'll be using 1,000 words per page. But if you're looking on a mobile device, 1,000 words is quite a lot. You don't want 1,000 words, just text. So that needs to be broken down. You perhaps need 50 words and a picture, 50 words and a picture. You break it down so it's nice and readable. And then perhaps at the bottom, the last 500 or 600 words might be a blog on that page. And that will really help you. So other factors about your on-page SEO is your page loading speed. So if your pictures are, if you're using pictures at like 10 meg pictures, they're going to take forever to download. And if you're more than like 3 seconds to load, Google's saying, because people are not even going to wait. They're just going to go. So you need pictures that obviously are clear and good clarity, but are really not massive file size. You can also name those picture images. So you can name so if I've got a picture of the pool, swimming pool at the Cotswold House, and naming the pictures is really important as well because they can be found as well, an extra little ranking factor. There's mobile friendliness I talked about very briefly. If your website does not shrink down and work on a mobile phone or a tablet, and that's where at least 50-60% of people now are browsing, probably more now, then you're just not going to load because what will happen is your bounce rate will be terrible. Your bounce rate is someone goes on your site and goes straight off again. It means they've come to the wrong place. They're not looking for you. So you can have loads of traffic, but if they just disappear, Google's saying, well, all these people going there, that they're not liking this site, and that can affect your ranking. So you want people to go onto your site and stay there with some great images, a little video like you saw ours, and some great text that appeals to the customer. So that helps. And obviously with that page loading speed, again, if it's slow, they go off again and your bounce rate goes up, your ranking goes down. There's another little thing about, it's called dwell time, and it's how long people spend on your site. So if people go onto your site and then go to 2 or 3 pages, watch a video, read a blog, they find things engaging, they're going, browsing around, Google are saying, yeah, that's a really good website, and they're going to give you even more prominence. A little extra tip for you, if you have YouTube videos embedded on your site, then Google will like that even more because YouTube is a Google product. They're not, you're using their product on your site. So it says, well, we like you even more now, and you've got a little bit more ranking. So there are many other things. They're the ones that we all know about and are quite easy to achieve. But the ones after that, we're in the dark arts territory of SEO, where you might need to pay an agency. But even those ones I've covered, I think people are fearful of them. They don't know how to do it, but actually it is within your grasp. It is quite easy to follow a step-by-step guide to get those things done. Now I'm just going to have a sip of water because I've loads of talking. So off-page SEO is the work you're doing not on your website. it could be blogs, it could be journalists coming to stay with you, and you want those journalists to be then writing a blog and linking back to your website. And hopefully that journalist will have lots of visitors, click the website, the link, and they go to your website. And I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the different sections on Google was the directories. So those directories, there are hundreds of them. Some of them are a little bit spammy, but there are also some very good niche ones about afternoon tea or spa or whatever. And these are business listings dedicated to your niche. So just get listed on them, and they will backlink to your website. Now those directories have a really high domain authority in Google. So if you get a link from another page to your site which has a high domain authority, it's going to push your domain authority up. Yeah. So then if you're sort of head to head with another business and you're roughly the same, but you've got more inbound links from high domain authority sites, then you're then going to start creeping up further ahead of them. Some of those directories, Yelp, 192.com, Apple Maps, Bing, Foursquare, but then you can also obviously build links from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're all really important as well. And there are actually hundreds of directories, but they're sort of main ones. You could literally spend weeks building them, and I have done in the past. I hope I didn't jabber on too much about that.
No, because this is so important, isn't it, to have those backlinks to help with that visibility. So anything like that that is relatively easy to do, it makes sense to do it.
Well, people as well are fearful that if they do a link from their site away to somebody else's site, then they'll be sending traffic away and lose ranking. And I don't think that's the case. Google will like it, and they'll see you as a trusted domain authority, as a trusted site that's happy to share information, and it's happy to send people to another website.
And presumably you can always have it opening in a new window anyway.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah. Completely. Yeah. Do it so it opens in a new window, and you're still there.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
Anyone got any questions at this point for Craig?
Hiya, I've got a very quick question. So you were mentioning that when it comes to maps, so for like the best restaurant in the area, that's free. So how would you get yourself there as a hotel?
Okay, well, I'm going to do a little demo in a second of the back end of that and how it kind of works. Have you claimed already your Google My Business listing?
No, I don't think so.
Don't think. So if you search your hotel, does it come up anywhere within that map part?
Have a look now.
Okay, it's really important because a lot of people as well, they'll do a Google search, and instead of looking at the natural listings, they actually click on the map, because you obviously got options. You've got map, shopping, images, that sort of thing. They'll click on the map because they'll look at the place that's nearest to where they want to go. And obviously there's a pin in the map where your business is. So to claim that's really important.
Yeah, we've got that.
Then you probably do have a Google My Business listing. You're possibly just not using it to its full potential. So by going into it regularly, that'll get you up there.
Fab. Thank you.
Do you want me to do that little demo now?
Yes, let's do that then, Craig.
Yeah, you're still on my screen.
Really good.
So this is where you enter. How do I move that out of the way? When you're on Google, in the top right hand corner of the screen, you've got the 9 dots in a little square by your picture normally. So if you click on there, now how am I going to move this? Oh, I can move it. That's good. I can move me over here. And then you've got this thing here, My Business. So click on your business, and the business pages that you manage will then come up here. Now, probably you'll have 1 or 2, but obviously I do work for other people, and I've got many listings, so there's more than one there. So I'm just going to go into a restaurant, one of my restaurants, because it's quite easy. Where is it? Bistro, that's an easy one. And the reason I showed a restaurant is because it's got different facilities on it to a hotel. So when you open it up, you're on the home page, and it will give you some information here, how many views you've had recently, what percentage increase or decrease. And actually, as we started hitting COVID and we all went into lockdown, my numbers were all in red. They were down, 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 down for weeks on end. And now I've just started seeing them started coming up. So that's a really great sign of recovery. Now, a restaurant has extra functionality in Google that a hotel doesn't. It has this little button here called posts. And you can't do that in a hotel, but you can do it in a restaurant. So it's kind of a bit more of a social media channel. So anything you might think of posting on Facebook, you can actually post in there. And if you look at the top there, you've got create post. And you can talk about COVID-19 update, for example. You can reassure your customers what you're doing. You can tell your customers your cleaning regime. You can do a little blog post on there. You could do an offer, a pre-opening offer, what's new, create events, wedding fairs, you name it. Yeah, curry night, tapas night, and you get all these different things in here. So a really good way of keeping your restaurant business in particular well ranked is to use that post function, because many businesses don't, and that's my secret sauce for you today. Use that information, use that, that functionality, because most people aren't, and Google like you for it. So that's really cool. So that's your post. Then you've got your information on your business. Just let that post load up. And you can put in here what you primarily are. So I thought that most people would type in restaurant in Chipping Campden. So my main category is restaurants, and then I've got the other areas that I try and to target: wine, cocktails, coffee, lunch, etc. You've got your map pin there. That needs to be absolutely accurate. You don't want it 100 yards down the road. And you've got your address. So this address, and I'll come on to it a little bit later, it's called your NAPS. So if you ever see the these Google techie guys and they're trying to bombard you with science and they're talking about the NAPS, it just means name, address, and phone. That's all it means. And it's and when you know, it's easy. But it's important to get it right, because you might be tempted to put street as ST, and you might be tempted to put square as SQ, and abbreviate that. And then if elsewhere on your website it says square, SQUARE, and street, STREET, it's not exactly the same as what you've got in Google My Business. And it has to be 100% precise on everything you do. Every page of your website, every directory you list on, and in here. It has to match up perfectly. You've got the service area. I think that's mostly to do with takeaway, but worth filling out anyway. Just put your postcode in. Your opening times. Don't be tempted to say that you're open 24 hours a day. You're not going to get any extra ranking for it. It just means customers are going to turn up when you're closed and give you a negative review. You could add special hours in, sort of Christmas and that sort of thing, which is what I've done there. Your telephone number. You can now have a short name. You can change this short name 2 or 3 times a year. And that little thing there, you can copy that link and send it to people. And that, if they click on that, they can then leave a review of your business just by copying that. You'll see here then there's the website. Now if I look at, so my actual, this is my page name here that I'm highlighting, Cotswold House Bistro on the Square. Right. So up to that slash. Now after that slash is a load of code, which is for Google Analytics. And you can ask Google Analytics, can I get a code for my website? Literally type that in. It will give you a code, and you put the code in there. And when you go to your Google Analytics, it will tell you how many people have gone from this page to your website. So you can track how well it's doing. So I know that Google My Business is the #1 referring place to my website. So that's how important it is. You can put in here links to your website, links to your menu, sorry, and to make reservations. And then importantly, you've got this section here about menus. So you might be a pizzeria. So why not fill that out? And you're going to have lots of words, margarita pizza, Hawaiian pizza, etc., etc. Lots of words about pizza in there. If people are searching for pizza, lo and behold, they're going to find you because you've got your menu items filled out. Yeah. And then they've got services. Most restaurants probably won't have extra services, but we do private dining, we do weddings and that sort of thing. So again, fill as much information out as you can. You can put things like cocktails, takeaway, and those keywords that people might be searching. Then you've got all the different functions that you have within your business, you know, and they're just tick boxes, what you're open for, what your offerings are. And that's why you need to go back regularly, because Google will update this and suddenly say, oh, I don't know, do you now have a kids menu? Because that's a new feature, a new tick box that Google have put in. In actual fact, you see I've got this little I here. It means they've added a new thing which I can tick or cross to say I offer it or I don't offer it. That's why you need to go back regularly. And you put your payment terms in there, that sort of thing. And then a description. You've got, I think you've got 750 characters, and that's where you put in there, sort of describes your business. At the bottom there, you've got photos. So I'll just go on the left-hand side. So most of those others there, that's what they are. If you go to Insights, it tells you how many people have searched for you, but also it's telling you what people have. So, and I didn't know this is news to me. The top search that people have found my bistro on is Cotswold cocktails. Who knew? So Google's telling you that you can now use these terms in your text. This is a major clue here. And there are 167 pages of these terms that are there on Google on your business listing. It's teaching you. A lot of people are even putting Just Eat. We're not even on Just Eat. So it just shows how important it is to have all this information filled out. It then shows you how many people have visited you over the last month, interactions, whether they're going to your website, requested directions, whether they've phoned you. They're all quite low at the moment. And then it's got this really good information about where people are requesting directions from. So they're just setting out in their car or they're just walking and they type into their phone, into Google Maps, how to find Bistro on the Square, how to find your business. That's the area that they're coming from. And if you scroll out, it will actually show other areas they're coming from, hopefully. Why is it all purple? It doesn't normally do that. I don't know why that's glitching. Normally it's got like little areas where you saw it was around Chipping Campden earlier, and you can move around the map and see other areas of highlighted colour. So if you're going to do an advertising campaign, you know that your customers, well, I know from this map that most of my customers are going to my hotel from West London. Now, if I overlay that information with what I know by going into the back of my Facebook page and looking at my customer demographics, if I was going to do an advert, I now know I need to target West London, women over 40, interested in spas, divorced. And that's my ideal client. So it's a bit of, like I said earlier, a bit from the heart and a little bit of factual gathering information. Yeah. And then just some other information about that. People who have looked at photos of your business and how many photos you have loaded. Now I'll just go on to photo because that's on the left-hand side here. Photos, was it Gemma, I think it was, asked about how you get ranked. By having lots of photos and uploading them regularly, you will get ranked because that's content going on there all the time. So that cover picture I've got of the 4 gin and tonics, that's had 212,000 people see it. You can see there. So that shows the importance. Now a little trick for you. If you take a picture with your phone, everyone's got an iPhone. Well, most people. Everyone's got a phone, okay. If you take a picture with your location services switched on while you're in the business, so you take a picture of some food or of the bar, the gin and tonic, whatever, that knows where in the world you are. It knows where in the world that picture is taken. So going back to my map pin earlier, it knows exactly where your business is. You then upload that picture from exactly where you've taken it from within that business, and it knows that's content from that place, and that's really important. Now it may be that you've had professional shots taken and it won't know the location, so it's called the geolocation. Yeah. And if it's not been done, say you've had a professional photographer in and you've got this stockpile of images, you can then geotag them. You can go into a website, it's called, just Google geotagging images, and you drop the pin in the map where your business is, you upload the picture, you click geotag, and then you name the picture, you name it Bistro in Chipping Camden, whatever, your keywords, pizza in Coventry, whatever you want to name it. And then it's not only named the picture, it's geotagged the picture, and you upload that as well. And that's really going to give you that extra secret sauce to get you uploaded. That's particularly for you, Gemma. That'll give you a bit of extra ranking. Okay. What else? Posts I talked about, doing COVID, keeping things updated. Reviews, obviously, Google reviews. I don't think they give a massive ranking factor, but if you were if you were head-to-head, if it was a tiebreaker between you and your competitor, that could be the difference. Some extra reviews, and you've replied to them, and you reply to those reviews with some rich keywords that your customers will be using. You know, thank you for your visiting our bistro in Chipping Camden in your reply. Then that helps. But I don't think it's a massive thing. So,
in terms of managing this, if you've got, Becky's asked a question, that if you're, can a venue give you access to their Google My Business account? If you
say that again, sorry.
Becky, do you want to ask the question yourself? Just want to unmute yourself. We can ask the...
Yeah, sure. I'm just thinking about all the venues I work with, Craig. Can they give me access to their Google My Business account so I can sort it out for them?
Yes.
Is that easy to do?
Yes. Yes, I'll show you right now.
Thank you.
Where are we? Users here on the left.
Yeah.
You just click Add Users, and you add an email address.
Oh, that's easy.
I add users. Yeah, and they just need to accept it.
Fab. Thank you.
Or you can pay me to do it. Yeah, really simple.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I'm glad I could answer that one easily.
So in terms of sort of short-term tips, sorry, was there...
No, I was going to say one other tip. If you're a hotel, and I don't know what the demographics we've got in this group, if you're with a restaurant...
Yeah, quite a few accommodation providers.
Yeah. So I've got a hotel and I've got 2 restaurants and a spa on site. Okay. So I've got Google My Business listings for each of the restaurants and the spa and the hotel. And that gives you more functionality and more presence on the website, on the web.
So that's good, yeah, because you saw both your restaurants there, and that's a really good. So a couple of people who say that they're open for non-residents in terms of their restaurant, presumably they really want to have a restaurant as almost a standalone.
Correct, particularly if that restaurant has got a separate name. Even better, because Google doesn't particularly like it if more than one business has exactly the same a name, address, phone number, and postcode, and website.
So if, for example, you've got different types of accommodation, so let's say you've got bed and breakfast, but you've also got self-catering. If they've got the same postcode, would you be penalised if you had 2 different listings?
If it's in the same location, you're best off just doing one listing.
Right.
Really, if it's I did different listings because a restaurant is a very different type of business to a hotel. A spa is a very different type of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. What other questions has anybody got for Craig? And feel happy to unmute yourself if that's easier. So Jenna said, what if the restaurant and hotel share the same website?
Well, mine do, but my restaurant has, /bistro, and I use that. I think there is a potential that Google might close it, but I've had this for years and it's never happened. But I do have separate phone numbers for the hotel, and there's a different landline for the back office, so I've just put a different landline on there. And I've actually tried to change the address very slightly, and I've put one as sort of Upper High Street, Chipping Camden. I've one put as, I can't remember, the Square, Upper High Street, Chipping Camden, just to make it very slightly different.
Have they got the same postcode?
Yeah. But more than one business can have the same postcode, so that you can just about get away with that.
Okay, yeah, just about get away with it.
Yeah.
Good, some really good tips there. And although I'm not a hotel or restaurant, I picked up some nice stuff as well that I need to do in my Google My Business page. So that's been really, really helpful.
Okay.
So Craig, sort of thinking sort of short term, and people have got a little bit more time now thinking about their reopening. So are there any other particular tips that you would think of that people would need, now is the time to focus on doing some of these things? What tips have you got for them?
Well, I think businesses aren't doing this right now. Unfortunately, there are a lot of businesses that have actually gone bust. And I would say that if a business has gone bust, and I don't want to sound ruthless in any way, but if a business is ranking higher than you on the Google My Business maps, it may be worth just notifying Google that they're closed permanently. And obviously then you're going to go up a place if they're ahead of you. Like I say, I'm not trying to gain anything from their demands, but that might be worthwhile doing. And using that post function just to give customers confidence that you've got a cleaning regime in place. You can add videos onto. Can you still see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Got
the thing up here where you can add all your different pictures. You can do video. You can do 360. So this picture here is a 360. And when you're on Street View and you then go into the premises, well, you can just download an app on your phone. I can't remember what it's called. Let's find it. I think it's called Street View. And then you can just go into your business and you hold your phone up and you turn it around and it will do a 360, which is what this one is top right. But every click on there gives you, is like a positive signal for Google. So that's how you can add that into 360. You can add video. You can add a video with a talk through and showing customers that my tables are spread out. Here's the hand washing and here's the hand gel. And this is, these are the procedures and what we've got set in place.
That's really useful because we've talked about this on previous days about the importance of having videos, and Becky's mentioned them. And it's not just about having them on social media or having them on your website, but actually having them in here as well. It's just another opportunity, isn't it, to get that message out and improve your visibility.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the second most used search engine is YouTube. So if you're going to do a little video, add it onto your YouTube channel. And then embed it on your website, add it onto your Google My Business listing. And then again, in the comments underneath that video on YouTube, you're going to add all those keywords and everything else and links to your website.
Brilliant. Good. So I'm conscious of time, and I know a couple of people have had to leave already, so don't, but this will be recorded. So anything that, for anybody that does have to go, very conscious of that. So if if you wanted some people to go away with just one thing from this afternoon, Craig, what would you say is the most important thing, most critical thing for people to look at?
The most important thing. Can I have two, like Becky?
Oh, go on then.
Speak to your target audience. Like I said right at the start, don't try and create some Shakespearean volumes. Just talk from the heart and you'll find your customers, you'll find your audience. And secondly, just go into Google My Business regularly and keep on updating it, keep on uploading pictures and ticking the boxes, checking your opening hours, posting the information, just using this facility, because this is the easiest way of getting in front of the customer.
So when you say regularly, people have a very different idea about what regularly is.
I would say at least once a week. I think if I said daily, people wouldn't do it, but you know, once a week, just go in there and check, add another picture.
Yeah.
And if you've got the app on your phone, you take a picture of the food as it's leaving the past. You take a picture of the flowers in the garden as you're walking into the hotel and post them. You're going to post it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, stick it on YouTube and Google as well. So not YouTube.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Has anybody got any more questions for Craig? I don't know about you, but I found that really, really helpful. So yeah, I've got some thank yous there in the chat box. So Craig, if people want to stay in touch or to follow you, you've mentioned already your Facebook group. Do you want
that's the Restaurant Industry Networking Group.
I'll put a link to that then in the what is it, Restaurant Industry
Network Group.
Network Group, yeah. I'll put that in the follow-up email tonight. And is that the best way really for people to connect?
Yeah, it is. That's my most public platform. If you search me on LinkedIn and Facebook, you'll find me quite easily. Yeah, like I say, mostly I'm a hotel manager, but I like to do this stuff and teach other people it. And I'm using this time to help people build their business online.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you both very, very much. Been very enlightening this afternoon from both of you. So hope everyone has got lots of tips that they can take away. And I will see everybody tomorrow afternoon when we'll be joined by John Butler, who I know Becky knows, and yours truly. So John is going to be talking about some more the operational side of opening, and I'm going to be focusing on your team. And I know it's been talked about a fair bit already this week about ensuring that your team are engaged and that they are willing and able to come back to work and to do that positively. So I will see everybody tomorrow afternoon. Thank you very much, and thanks again.
Thanks very much.
And thanks again, Craig.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye.